We got August 28, 2025. You coming to you live from Loganville, Georgia. You boy Doug E, the master Doug E, owner and founder of 60 Gang. Get ready. 60 Gang t-shirts are coming to a town near you. Right now we're up early, bright and early. Headed out to the town of Morrow. It'll be about an hour ride. 60 Gang member gave me a call last night. He said he'd like to see me. He got a customer named Money over there, so I told him I'll be right over. So you guys get ready to enjoy the ride. And right now, fueling up at Racetrack, and it's going to be $2.45 a gallon. Look for gas to continue to drop, especially once we get into next year. Shout out to Lisa Cook, you crook. Thanks to you, now our interest rates will be going down next month because we got to get you guys out of the Federal Reserve, keeping up interest rate, keeping us from getting car loans, bank loans, home loans. You guys are trying to profit off the interest rate, and your ass got fired. Now we get Mr. Powell out the way, and we can start getting new loans, car loans, home loans. Everything will start popping come 2026. Best believe that. Get all the crooks out the way. Crooked judges, crooked lawyers, crooked agents, crooked politicians. All right, let's roll out.
Cunningham.
What's up, everybody? Sorry for the somewhat short notice. I've been trying to figure out since I got off the first show how I was even going to do this show, because all the information I have to show you, I would say 90% of it I can't show on YouTube. I know if I were to basically show you the video and writings and the rantings and some of the stuff that I've found, that immediately YouTube would have a problem. So I'm like, okay, how do I do this? How do I structure it? And on top of that, I have an interview with Ben Dykes coming up. So I thought to myself, the best way for me to basically incorporate what we want to do is eliminate the fluff from the front end, jump right into the interview with Ben, and then once we do the jump over and get over on Rumble, then we can talk about the meat and potatoes and stuff. So we don't hold Ben up, we can actually talk now. And I'm hoping you understand what I'm talking about. That being the incredible, crazy, insanity, madness that has happened today. And I think what I'll do here on the front end is I'll talk to Ben about this media effort, this massive gaslighting that they're doing, and how that's Midas. He's not happy. Can you get out, Midas? I'm sorry. He's acting ornery right now. So that's him back there. He likes his pillow and he doesn't like the other dog on it. But anyway, I figured we'd talk to Ben and discuss what the heck this media is doing. And let me give you a little bit of a little taste of where they're going right now. All right, so I've got something here queued up. I'm going to spank this dog. All right, here we go.
Appreciate this journey. I agree with the mayor. I'm not the thoughts and prayers. I'm so beyond that nonsense, the lie of that, because what we have are people who continue to stand in the way of actually doing something to stop the violence against their own kids. It is amazing to me. We watch young kids die in classrooms and now in church.
So right away, they just pivot and are going to use this as just another wedge to address something that's not the actual problem. Every chance they get. And by the way, they have no chance. I mean, zero chance of passing anything regarding what they're talking about. Nothing. It will never happen. It is a pipe dream, and all it is a deflection to get people to stop talking about what the real problem is. That we'll be discussing when we jump over to Rumble. So let me bring Ben in. Ben, as you guys know, Ben Dykes News. Before that was Veteran Biker. That was his channel. And beyond that, doesn't really need any introduction whatsoever. All right, Ben, what you got, bro? You got nothing. Your microphone's not working. You got zero incoming signal. Turn the on-off button on. Well, while Ben's working on that, let me talk to you. I can watch Ben here and see when his signal comes on. And Ben, just go ahead and talk up whenever it comes back. And that way I can just pull you on because I can hear it and everybody else will hear it. So it's very strange to me as we're watching this unfold, how they're doing all kinds of gymnastics and contortions to stop anybody who wants to question the actual person who committed a crime, the actual reason why this person committed a crime. They are hoping that there's been enough people out there who haven't seen the true evidence, who haven't seen the manifesto, who haven't seen the videos, haven't seen the markings and what he's written on the magazines and the cartridges. They're hoping that all of that you don't see. But you're going to see it here. If you haven't seen it earlier, you're going to see it here. And the reason why I have to do it on Rumble is because I can't take the chance that YouTube is that, hey, you can't do it, and they flip the switch. So that's the problem. Ben, are you there?
I think I am.
Yes,
I don't know.
Are. Yes, you are. I can hear you now. You hit the on-off button and you're now working.
I'm a redneck in Arkansas. Figure it out.
I might be out there soon. I think Notre Dame is going to be playing Arkansas, so I might have to make it out there.
Notre Dame Arkansas game is going to happen about 4 miles from my house.
Oh wow! That might be worth the trip right there. So you've had time today to digest all of this. I'm sure you're going to do a video on it and everything else. I don't know how you're going to tap dance around, the censors that won't allow us to talk about it. But let's first talk about the media and how they're approaching it. Have you been watching it all? Have you been in your spare time looking and seeing how the media is attacking this and literally attacking it?
Barry, the first thing that jumped out at me was Trey Gowdy calling for gun control. Fox News, I don't know what is going on with Fox News. I don't know what's going on with Trey Gowdy. I think they're the best of the worst. Mm-hmm. Whenever I heard Trey Gowdy call for gun control and saying that was the only answer, that bothers me. That jumps off the page at me. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. And then whenever I heard other news media outlets, MSDNC, CNN, you had the mayor of Minneapolis, the guy that took a knee at George Floyd's casket. They're already grandstanding on the graves of these children. And it's all for political gain. It's all for political showmanship.
That's it. I'll get with you on the second part, because I don't think there's any political gain to be had. These people have lost this argument quite some time. Showmanship, 100%. I think they're grandstanding, thinking that somehow rallying their base, but their base is over it too. I mean, I just saw a poll early this morning that President Trump is got a 9 or 10 point swing on people who want safety. I'm seeing blacks in Washington. I'm seeing blacks in Chicago that are saying we want the safety. They've lost that argument at this point. People know the bad guys with the thing are the reason why these crimes happen, and there's no getting around it. So you're absolutely right. They are exactly showboating. But I was very surprised seeing Trey Gowdy. I'm surprised, well, maybe I shouldn't be, but I was surprised that Fox did that. So now are we going to be fighting the so-called conservative media now as well?
Barry, you've probably noticed as much as I have, and we're kind of hyper aware. I know your audience is aware as well. The woke right has went so far right, now they're with the left. And it's just so odd to see what we're witnessing, and it's just like they're waiting for something else. And I think you might have discussed this a while back. I think you did. I was watching one of your streams from work. Donald Trump has trapped the Democrat Party into supporting criminals. He's trapped them into supporting illegal migrants. He's trapped them into supporting all of these ridiculous indoctrination or doctrines. And I think now, with as much trouble as we have seen in schools, he's going to trap them with this. It's just, I don't know how the Democrat Party can blame Donald Trump for this, but they're going to try. I don't know how Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough, the laundry list of zombies that they parade out every day, are going to blame Donald Trump for this. Minnesota's been a Democrat-ran state. The last Republican to win Minnesota was Reagan. So it's not like Trump is putting together policy points in Minnesota. It's ironic.
I think a great deal of it is the embarrassment, because there's so much footage of them trying to ram this lifestyle down our throats that they're seeing now that this lifestyle is backfiring on them, with one after the other being the culprit of these things. And they've convinced children and young adults that it's okay to put on a different Halloween costume this week and somehow clip off your twig and berries and everything's going to be fine. And they've even got people in the medical profession to go along with it. And all this Frankensteinian BS is backfiring on them. And I don't think they have, or shouldn't even have, the ability to extract from that. I don't know how that ends. Do you have any idea where this thing goes and how people stop doing this?
Barry, my grandfather was a preacher for a long time, World War II veteran as well. He said, never underestimate a large group of idiots. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. We have a congealed cesspool of idiots that know nothing other than hate Trump. I asked some of my Democrat friends, tell me one policy that the Democrat Party has that you think I can believe in. And they can't give me that. They can't. I asked Democrats two questions. Number one, who is the leader of the Democrat Party? Number two, what policy can you win me over with? And they can't. And this school stuff is going to continue. It's the first day of school. I don't know if you saw just the other day, there was a hoax that was called in, an incident here at the University of Arkansas. It's a mile from where I work. Apparently, it's some AI-driven call mechanism that they have targeted all these schools. And it's just crying wolf. And they've cried wolf so much. And then today, it actually happened. And I don't know if you saw the interview with that Minneapolis police chief. and he said he didn't know if there was a motive. And I saw.
Hold on to that. Hold on to your thought there. I didn't know you were going to go there already. Hey, check this out.
Likely stopped communicating with other people. They began to withdraw and change their appearance. And I don't mean change their appearance like you might hear. I understand at least early reporting is that we have someone who is female. But presents as female but was male. So I'm not talking about that kind of change appearance. I mean the clothing, the jackets and things like that. People begin to say, hey, what is going on with this person around me? We're not doing a good job of looking for that type of thing.
Yeah, you are. It's pretty easy. No, we're not talking about him changing his appearance. We're not talking about him, becoming a he or whatever. We're talking about he wears weird clothes. Ben.
There are people everywhere that have problems. They have brain pain. And they believe that they're Batman or they believe that they're Superman. And it doesn't make them Superman or Batman. I read comic books as a kid and I never assumed the role. And I believe what we're seeing now is people are assuming the role. There are other people that are empowering them and engaging them because they don't want to hit them in the face with cold, hard truth that you're not a cat. You can't poop in a box in the classroom. You're a person. You've got problems. And I think for the longest time, you're a little older than I am, but for the longest time, weird people, there was always a group of people for weird people to hang out with. If you go back to the 40s and 50s, there was the greasers and the mods and the rockers. And then you had the hippies. And then you had disco. In the 80s, you had more of the disco, you had the hair bands. And then in the 90s, you had the goth and the emo crowd.
Right.
Well, there's no weird crowd for them to assimilate to right now. So they're all assimilating into this. Mm-hmm. And it's just ironic.
You said assimilate. That's not I'm not talking about you to have the wrong word. That's not what they want. They don't want to assimilate. They don't want us to, engage. They want us to bow down to this altar that this is there's two different religions that they have. One, bringing in as many people from other countries, and number two, these people who have obvious mental deficiencies that they can't even acknowledge. I mean, the lady was falling over herself trying to describe it, realized she stepped in it, came back. Oh, I'm not talking about the change. I'm talking about the clothes. And I'm like, what kind of a mental midget do you have to be to listen to these people on MSNBC, CNN, and then also now Fox? I can't forgive them for what they are doing to the American public. They're hoping that there's guys like you and me who aren't going to show people what we can actually see. Because right now there's a whole swath of Americans who either aren't on X, and then because they're not on X, they really have no ability to see the truth. I almost think they're giving us a lane to hey guys, you guys can do it over there because we can't do it here. Which the question I'm getting to is, who's the puppet master? These people they're not stupid people. I've watched them for years. They're not this dumb. They're not this in the tank for the Democrat ideology. What the hell's going on?
Barry, I think it's just a way to... You can't alter the truth, but you can shape it for the people that want to hear it. And people like you and I... we have no problem with recognizing it, but people are so easily misled, and it's easier to convince someone of something crazy than it is to convince them that they've been tricked. And I think that's what's happened. They have been tricked. The news media is falling all over themselves because Donald Trump is keeping 8-9 steps ahead of them. All they are able to do is react. Something like this comes along where they can what they think get out in front of it, but they can't because they can't go back against everything that they preach to us.
Right.
Even though I think some of them, I don't know who, see that morally this is morally corrupt. It's so amazing to watch them just trip over everything. I saw your video with Joe Scarborough and Brandon Johnson.
Oh my gosh.
Joe was basically leading him to the answer.
Gave him
And he
five
couldn't admit it.
times. 5 times he gave him a chance.
And that's the way this is, Barry. They are. It's just so pitiful. And you know, the older crowd. I mean, I'm 50. I think people 40 and older are aware of the game, but there's the younger crowd that are not aware of the game, and that they will gladly just comply. They will just, you know, whatever feels good, I guess. Yeah, it's hard to recognize or hard to communicate with them even any level of logic because
Right.
they don't understand reasoning.
You, I remember one of our offline talks. You told me your daughter, is she in college or nursing school? I mean, she's a younger woman, right?
Go ahead. Sorry.
And my question is, what kind? See, my daughter is older with 3 grandkids. They're not at that age yet. What kind of peer pressure did she experience in college?
She finished her last year of nursing school just 2 months ago. She just started her first job as a registered nurse. I'm so proud of her. My wife is a nurse practitioner, has her own clinic. But now we live in Arkansas, and she is I'd say a country girl. We've got horses and stuff like that. But she would bring home, dinner table conversation about some of this stuff. And just me being me, a salty squid, I would just be like, you have got to be joking, and it's like this whole flag burning thing. We were out to dinner the other night and we were talking about the flag stuff. And I said, and the conversation, I'm like, so it's okay for people to burn the American flag. But if you burn the password flag, like the guy in Iowa did, 15 years in prison. And it's pitiful. It is. We're so confused as a nation. I think part of it is some of the pharmaceuticals that are given to kids for every problem. If the kid acts up in class, if the kid talks too much, kid asks too many questions, kid doesn't sleep, kid doesn't eat, vegetables, give them a pill. It just seems the easy solution, easy parenting is give them a pill.
It seems like more and more of that is coming out. And I watched the cabinet meeting that Trump did yesterday, and he was actually shocked when RFK Jr. was talking to him about the autism numbers. And I don't think you can reach your arms out and not touch somebody who has some kid or family member who's been diagnosed with autism, which didn't happen when I was growing up. So there's something that people have done. It's either in the food, in the water, social media. I don't know. Something has happened over the last 20, 25 years that is causing this huge number. Vaccines, I don't know. But now on top of that, on top of that problem, they're now openly advocating for people to switch what God has ordained them. And actually, you can become this instead of that. And I don't understand how that is going to work out for some of these people, because I'm looking 5-10 years down the road. If it's happening now, where these kids are just complete. I mean, this guy today, this girl, whatever you want to call it, was 22, 23. What happens when some of these kids turn 26, 27, 28? I feel like we're looking at walking time bombs.
Barry, you know it as good as I do. It's like, when's the last time they lowered your taxes? They just don't do it. Taxes get worse. This is going to get worse. And think about this. Back in the 80s, late 70s, you and I probably both watched the same show, MASH. Klinger was a joke. He was trying to get kicked out of the military. And I blame the Army on all this because I'm a Navy veteran. So I just, comedically blame the Army. But it started there as a joke, and somebody ran with the joke, and they're like, hell, let's normalize this. You know?
I mean, think of how many soft disclosures Hollywood has made over an extended period of time. There was a movie with, I forget, with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon, The Apartment or something, way back. Yep. And then, of course, Mrs. Doubtfire. And it just seems, what was the black one? Medea. I'm like, something, Big Mama, all these things. I'm like, what were they trying to tell us? Was that a soft disclosure all along, trying to tell us this is where we're going to take you? And then you get celebrities like, what's his name? Will Smith. His kids are completely, excuse my language, effed. They're done. Who's the other one? Charlize Theron?
She has 4 kids that have all changed.
4?
4.
That's mathematically, statistically impossible.
In Hollywood, all things are possible.
That's true. She may be. Who knows? I haven't been looking down there. That's crazy.
You know Taylor Swift is going to have a kid like this. You know it.
No way. Not with Travis Kelce and his brother, if they have anything to do with it. I mean, I would hope not, but that's a whole nother video, because we could talk about that next time. You see the professor that had to stop his class because he was overwhelmed. She was getting engaged. And I was like, these people, there's something really wrong. I mean, did you see that? Are you there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And do you think that any Democrat will come out and disavow this? I know, like, was it last year, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz signed legislation. Minnesota's a trans refuge state.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone will come out and buck the trend?
I was talking to Robin last night, and I had that conversation, and I said, if somebody was an aspiring and ambitious Democrat politician, now would be for the time for them to pull off the cape and say, I'm done with this nuttiness, here's my plan. And they would get a hell of a lot of people behind it. I've almost thought to myself, is this a trick? Is this a trick leading to 2026? There's somebody in the wings. I've been trying to watch them all. Is there somebody who's going to dust off and go, you know what, let's put a stop to this, everybody. Let's get back to normal and having a Trumpish plan without, not being so hard, because that person would crush. I mean, but then again, they'd get no money. Well, no, they get money, because it depends on what happens. I mean, with everything we've seen with Cracker Barrel and how fast they capitulated, I think companies are now getting the message. You're going to have to acquiesce and get rid of this woke stuff. I think woke's dead. I don't think that's going to survive whatsoever. But if there was to, like you said, is there someone who's going to pull off the cloak and become the new Batman? That would be their only avenue at this point. Good.
It's like that scene from the movie Dumb and Dumber, where Harry pulls up on the moped and he said, just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, you go and completely redeem yourself. I don't know who is Harry and who is Lloyd, but you're right. I don't know which Democrat comes out and says, we got to get back to some level of normalcy. I don't know which Democrat is the most normal right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we just saw this, I'm going to say, retired white Democrat lady that held up the sign, against Winsome Sears, the Marine veteran lieutenant governor, and she said, no blacks for my fountains.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the living I mean, what? Who told her that was okay? Who said, yeah, you know what? That's a good sign. Roll with it, Vera.
Well, anything anti-Trumpish, anything anti-MAGA, they're fully okay with it. Hollywood's okay with it. It would be so hard for someone to step out. But like you said, I don't know if that person even exists right now. And in fact, the only person who could do something like that would have been like RFK Jr. They didn't want nothing to do with it. Could have been Tulsi. They want nothing to do with her. So anybody who steps up and puts their neck out there, all they're going to do is try and chop it off. They don't want anything to do with you. And I think that's from the powers that be, the puppet masters. Now, something interesting happened today. President Trump, for the first time, went out and took a shot. Sorry, wrong word. Took a swing at the Soros camp. Did you notice that?
I saw that. I love RICO charges. I love the sound of it. I love it.
That would be incredible. I have one more cut to look at here. Let's watch this one.
Well, looking through the manifesto, that's a lot of pages, kind of rambling. A lot of it is his self-pity for how his life is going, that he has been depressed for a long time, that he has been planning to do this for a long time, that he knows it's wrong, that he knows his friends are going to hate him for it, that he knows he's going to take his own life at the end of it. He said it was better to die standing up than kneeling down for all the injustices he appears to believe he has suffered during his life.
All right, I want to stop there for a second. The most privileged group of people, the most privileged class right now is that group he's in. What are the injustices that this guy possibly, in any way, shape, or form, in Minnesota, has been experiencing? What could what could be so bad in his life? Didn't he get everything he wants?
The other thing is, his mom and dad are well-to-do, liberal, raging Democrats.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like he was suppressed. It doesn't sound like he was suppressed or, diminished. I think they gave him everything that he wanted, or maybe they took off everything he wanted taken off. I don't know who was holding this guy back. I saw the video with what he had written on the firearm.
Yeah.
What he had written in the manifesto. It seems like this person, there are demons walking amongst us. And you can't explain it other than that, Barry. Mm-hmm. I'm religious. I have been around people. I have met two people that the minute I met them and they walked into my office, I knew they were evil. Mm. And you can recognize it and you can feel it. And I obviously would never get a chance to meet that person.
Yeah.
There are demons walking amongst us, and they prey on the weak. They prey on those that can't defend themselves, like these kids in this school, and the indigenous, indignant mm-hmm. that can't take care of themselves. That's who they prey on. And this is a perfect example.
He wasn't like that. I mean, I'm sure you, having been in the armed forces, you have your own, not to expose you, but you are well knowledgeable about firearms.
Yeah.
And what they've so far released about what this guy has, plus what you could see on the video, this wasn't cheap armament. This wasn't something you walked into Pawn Stars and said, "Hey, for $50 here, give me this." I mean, no. Tell me what you saw when you saw that stuff.
I saw someone that was well prepared. Mm-hmm. There were two handguns that are $1,000, $1,200 a piece. There was a long rifle that's probably a $1,500, $1,800 rifle. Those magazines, all 30-round magazines. I thought Democrats were supposed to hate 30-round magazines. There was a pump shotgun. It looked like an 870 or a Mossberg. That's not cheap. He talked about he had went to SHOT Show last year. SHOT Show tickets are not cheap. How would a Democrat mother and father allow a child to travel to Vegas to go to SHOT Show? How does that work out? I mean, was this, and here's a question that I want to know, Barry. This happened today. We know more about this person than we still know about Thomas Crooks.
Yep. Absolutely. And watch what happens over the next 48 hours. It will disappear. They will just stop talking about it. And unless Pam Bondi and Kash Patel keep it up and do something about it, the media will stop, because they're their angle doesn't have any legs. Just telling people we want to take away your guns is not going to have the legs it needs. People want to know what the hell happened. And then the sheriff today, or the chief, he said something that piqued my interest that nobody has talked about. I've been clicking all of it. He said they found explosives.
I heard that too. Barry.
Now, I'm telling you, I am not as well versed as someone like you who's been in the armed forces, but I can tell you I have absolutely no experience, nor would I go on the internet and try to figure out how to wire something.
Oh, no.
Make any sense to you?
Barry, there are things that they're trying to keep from us.
Mm-hmm.
But sadly, there is a fraternity of people like me and you that you might catch a phrase or an offhand comment that I miss, and I might catch it as well. And we are sharing that with your audience and my audience and putting these pieces together.
Yeah.
The media is failing. And isn't it odd that as the media's downfall continues, so does the Democrat Party's
Yep, exactly.
downfall. They are directly proportional.
I will not watch any news show now unless I have a notepad right next to me, because with that notepad I want to get the timestamp and the quote exactly right and go, wait a second, what did you just say? And I watched him say it, and I've watched since I got off the air. I'm like, is anybody talking about the fact that this guy also, on top of all this other stuff, somehow had some explosive, and you're not telling us what they were? Were they dynamite sticks? Were they, some IEDs? And what was he going to do with them? Launch them over the fence into the... Nothing makes any sense what they're covering. Let me continue with this video.
This is not foreign territory for us. Basically, I look at this guy, and I know this guy because we've seen this guy before. He has written messages all over his rifles to homages to the New Zealand shooter who killed 51 Muslims in mosques while they were praying, to the Norway shooter who killed children in a camp, and is known as the biggest body count, very much like what we saw among the Buffalo shooter. These are individuals who, we look for that specific motive. There won't be a specific motive.
I heard that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's like we're all communicating, doesn't it, Barry?
Yeah. I heard that again. I'm like, oh, stop. Wait a second. You're not telling people what was on these magazines. Notice, there was some stuff on there, and he was, blah, 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 and he was disturbed, obviously. And we may never know what he was disturbed about. And yet it would take you no time to read what exactly he said, what he wrote, the exact words that he said. And I can't say it here on YouTube, but it begins with a K and ends with a double L, and it was K double L Donald Trump.
Absolutely. Barry, you nailed it. You nailed it.
But they're like, hey, it doesn't. We're never gonna know. It's some abstract puzzle.
Well, there was more stuff on there about going after a certain group of people that wear small hats.
Yep.
I see people on a daily basis on X and on YouTube, and I don't know how they're not complicit in this. Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Ian Carroll, they are inciting this. They are agitators. They are absolutely coming out. I'm even seeing Tucker Carlson make a huge pivot. And it's so ironic to see these people that we trusted, I trusted, you probably trusted as well. They're pivoting. It's a slow pivot, but now it's becoming more obvious. And I just don't get it. I don't know the reason why.
My hypothesis on that was we've reached a very slow time in the calendar. The House and Senate went away for a month. Nothing really is happening other than Trump doing what he needs to do. And I think some people figured, you know what, I got to get the clicks, I got to get the views, I still got to get the money. So let me take an antagonistic approach. And even people who don't want to hear it are going to get pissed off and keep watching, which is going to further my paycheck every single month. Instead of just staying true to what you believe and understand, yeah, it's the summer doldrums right now. You're not going to get the same amount of views. People are going to be going off and having fun at the beach or on vacation. And then right after that, which I'm going to tell you, it's going to get worse. And I've told people this for some time. Now we're getting into football season. Football season starts in earnest this weekend. And then soon you're going to find us, we're going to be right in the middle of the holiday season. And so everybody who rode the wave from November to about June are all scrambling going, how do I do stuff? Instead of just developing your rapport with your audience and your community. Yeah. And that's the people have asked me, how are you doing it? I'm like, just making sure I stay true. I may make mistakes, but they know now it's me. And I'm not going to, President Trump, he got me here. I am not looking to go off to the side, and some of these people have, and it's absolutely crazy. The media, you can actually tell they've got no allegiance to anything other than themselves. And now what they're trying to do is it's basically cover up. And I look in the closet or whatever. I've never had my thing decide it was going to wave to me as it went out the door and shoot somebody. It's never happened. But they act like this inanimate object has some sort of transcendent ability to do whatever it wants instead of just looking at the person. And I think that's the same thing that's going on with Chicago and Washington. I think the words personal accountability are absolutely kryptonite to the Democrats. Thoughts?
Barry, Labor Day weekend. You know what happens Labor Day weekend in Chicago? 40 plus bad things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. I would say this year it's going to be worse, and it's only going to make the argument for Donald Trump and what he's doing.
Yeah.
It is going to make the argument for himself. I'm looking at a website right now. I'll send you the link to it that breaks down every statistic for Chicago. And it is insane, the numbers for Chicago.
And the media will go on a show, especially like that crazy kook, Abby Phillips, and they just literally, I don't know, Scott Jennings, they must be paying him a couple $1 million a year, because I don't know how I couldn't sit there. I've told people, I couldn't sit there and listen to the crap that they say without just going completely berserk and going, shut up. You're lying.
Barry, let me ask you this. CNN, Tiffany Cross, just 2 nights ago, called Stephen Miller a white supremacist. He's Jewish.
She did more than that. I covered that, and I watched her talk to that guy that was sitting next to her like he was a piece of crap. And she kept putting her finger in his face, and I'm like, I actually said during the broadcast, I'd have just backhanded her, and they would have said, like, never come back here again. I'm like,
I would have identified her as a woman and slapped the piss out of her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let me end this cut.
He's got problems in his life. He has decided to blame everybody else. He has anti-black messages, anti-Semitic messages, anti-religious messages, anti-God messages. In other words, his motive is he hates everybody because his life's a mess, and he figures it's not his fault.
And whose fault is?
Ben, he missed something. I think you missed a big one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wow. How could you step over that snake and keep a straight face and leave out the fact of who he actually, the only person that he actually named and said, K-double-L-L, Donald Trump.
Yep.
And the media won't touch it. They're trying to paint him as some 2A amendment guy, but at the same time, 2A amendment guys aren't deciding to wear dresses all of a sudden. So I don't know how they're going to get out of this, and I'm pretty sure once I show this to everybody, they're going to, if they haven't seen it, it's so compelling, and then you'll be able to tell your friends and everybody else that you've seen it, and like this guy is whacked and the media is lying. So what are you going to do? How are you going to cover it? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who watch your show that haven't seen this yet.
Barry, I think the only way you cover it is from a policy standpoint. The YouTube and the powers that be won't let you get into the weeds onto the mental health side or any of that, or even the gun side of things. I don't think they will. I think you've got to cover it from a policy side where, this happened, what should we do next? And I don't agree with Sean Hannity very often, but I heard him talking, and Sean Hannity had a great idea that I have to endorse. He said, you could do this. You could make these schools safer if you used retired law enforcement and retired police officers, retired military. You said, hey, if you do 15 hours a week at one of these schools, we won't tax your retirement or your pension or maybe your property tax or something like that. I think there's a lot of veterans that I've talked to over the last day today that were like, yeah, that's a great idea. And I think if we do something like that, because, obviously Chicago doesn't need more police officers. They just need more cheap housing, I just think that there's got to be something. We're too smart as a nation not to figure this out.
Especially when there's a cheat code. And so you're in Arkansas, you may not know it, but here, literally 2 miles away from where I live, maybe 3 miles, one of the worst school shootings in history happened. Parkland. Everybody remembers Parkland on Valentine's Day a few years ago.
David Hogg.
It's what birthed David, what's the guy's name? David, Hoff and those guys. After that happened, we put in place the blueprint. It is called the Marjory Stoneman Douglas Act. And with the Marjory Stoneman Douglas Act, everything you just mentioned is right there. And God forbid, knock on wood, since that time, we haven't had any, because now the bad guys know there's good guys there who are going to take you out. And I've seen some of these schools, they've got drones flying around the school to make sure so they can see if anybody's approaching that's not supposed to be there. There's armed guards. One of my friends who's he's a sheriff in a county not to be known, so he doesn't get himself in trouble. He told me what they do and how they've got multiple guys, and depending on the size of the school, they're walking around armed. They have complete authority to shoot on sight if they see something. The blueprint's already here. All the other states would have to do is say, you know what, let's do that. Let's bring that to Arkansas. Let's bring that to Kentucky and just lock it down without it seem like it's Stalag 13. The kids get to know Officer Friendly and he's walking around and they feel safe. The parents feel safe and they know there's a perimeter now that is being watched. And what hasn't come out yet, and I don't know if you've heard it, let me ask you a question. How did this guy get so close to this school with all this weaponry?
I don't know. And that was one of the things I tried to figure out. I'm like, it's like the Vegas thing.
Yeah.
How did that guy bring that many things through the lobby of the hotel? Mm-hmm. Vegas has more cameras than any city in America, and yet we don't have one image of this guy in Vegas bringing that stuff through? Come on, man.
So that leads you to, this is where, I talked to, I don't know if you know him, Alpha Warrior on Rumble, big former Marine, he's in the Army. This is where they told us that we're the ones wearing the tinfoil hats, but then they never answer the question. The question you could ask is what you just said. The question I asked, how did it get so close? Those things are what if you watch the news at this point, don't listen to the stuff that they're saying.